Good morning, and welcome to Chapel Chat. I'm Pastor Kevin Little, and this is not the chapel at Rantoul First United Methodist Church. This is my living room. No, I'm not going to show you around because Pastor Emily would consider it messy, and I'd never hear the end of it. I'm recording from home right now because we are in the middle of a snowstorm. You're seeing this whenever you're seeing it, but I'm recording on Wednesday, and so far we're sitting at about 8 inches of snow, and more is still coming down outside. It's definitely kind of a snow day. Do you remember snow days when you were a kid? Or maybe you're young now and enjoying the snow day yourself. I remember looking forward to getting enough snow to take a day off from school so much. Of course, that was back when I liked to play in the snow and didn't particularly care for school. Kids today aren't going to have the same memories of snow days that we do because of technology like what we're using right now. Emily has already attended one class this morning and actually just finished up her second that was happening this afternoon. Both of those were online. No snow day for her, but she's been having fun going out and measuring the snow, so maybe that counts a little bit. For some of us, a snow day can be a welcome break. For others, it just means working from a different location than normal. Or, for many people since the pandemic started, it's just another day of working from home. Even that rare bonus break of having a snow day has been taken away. We often don't stop to think about what kind of damage might be done when we take a step into new technology or even a new way of thinking. Something always seems to be left behind, and then we either have to try and get it back, or we figure out a new way forward. Now, I'm not saying that this technology is inherently a negative thing, but in many ways, the world scrambled to adapt to a new world over the past 2 years, and we're still figuring out what kind of impact that has had. Work structures that have been in place for decades are having to be reformed. But that isn't necessarily bad. Many of those things need to be reformed. In other countries, they're experimenting with a shorter work week, recognizing that 40 hours is actually not in anyone's best interest. If we think about the expectation of working 40 hours or more as potentially unhealthy from a mental standpoint, what does that say about working 40 hours from home? Is that better or is it worse? Do negative experiences then ruin the comfort of home? Or is it better to already be somewhere comfortable? Are distractions by kids and or pets like I've got in my lap, are they hampering our ability to get things done, or are they good for us? All of these questions are largely subjective, and it really can change depending on the individual. For me personally, I'm more productive in the office, but I'm happier at home with some distractions. Or at least as long as they happen when I plan them rather than spontaneously. Now, I know many of you wonder about the impact of broadcasting our worship services online. That technology to do this has been around for years, and some churches have been using it forever. Now, I don't know about this church for sure, but I remember some churches here in Rantoul recording their worship service onto a VHS tape and then taking it to the cable station to play on the air. Now, that was back when I was young and involved in church, so it's about 30 years ago. Did that take away from the number of people that we had in church? Or did it possibly expand our reach? Was anything lost in that process? I can't say anything about numbers at that time, but I never felt like we lost anyone from that church congregation because it was on TV. Right now, I'll say that COVID has definitely impacted our congregation, but is that because of broadcasting our service, or is it because people are nervous about being around others? It's probably a little bit of both. But for all of those that we judge for watching from home rather than coming to church, there are others who aren't even doing that much, and that's the larger problem for me. Shutting things down for COVID was the right move. It could have been done better, I'm sure, but forcing people to distance helps save lives. I really do believe that. But that process also caused unforeseen damage to things because it changed the way we did things. It changed our shopping habits, it changed our dining habits, and it definitely changed our church habits. Or perhaps it just exposed weaknesses that were already present but were kept hidden by routine. The people who come to church every Sunday, whether it's online or in person, are showing their level of commitment to the church. Those who have disappeared are showing that they weren't committed to something, whether it was this particular church or church in general. This is okay. Not only is it actually okay, but it's biblical. As Jesus and the disciples came closer to Jerusalem and the crucifixion, Jesus' teachings became increasingly hard for people to understand and accept. They had thousands of people with them, but many of them left before the end because they didn't understand what he was talking about. And that was okay, because the people that remained around Jesus then were the foundation for the new church that formed after Jesus' resurrection. They were the ones who didn't give up and couldn't be chased away. They were the ones who were committed to Jesus' teachings, and they were the ones that spread the gospel to so many more. Now, it's safe to assume that many of those people that wandered off came back. It's also safe to assume that that will apply now as well. As we continue to navigate this pandemic, we'll see people return that we've been missing. Others will have found a new church home, or possibly replaced church with something else in their lives entirely. But there will also be new opportunities for new people to come see what we're doing and to jump in and see what wonderful things the church is doing today. From what we can see in Scripture, those disciples that stayed with Jesus were willing to welcome everyone as they moved forward, whether they had wandered off or taken a break or had never even been there before. And that's what we'll be doing as a church as well. We'll celebrate the new people that we find, and we'll celebrate the return of those that we've missed. Thanks for joining me for another chapel chat here this week. I'll see you here again next week, hopefully from the chapel, and hopefully having dug ourselves out of all of this snow. Until then, have a good week and enjoy your snow day.